welcome to another episode of Tormenta Talk. We are La Tormenta, the official supporters group for West Texas FC out here in Midland, Texas. And with me right now is Brian Hodnett, and then here later on in the episode, CJ Chris Haig will be joining us as well. So, Brian, it's good to see you. Hope you got a beverage handy.
You, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. My Talk City right there, representative.
That's right. That's right. I'm saving my Scotty Pilsners for when we win the Lone Star Conference. I've decided to just hold off because that one's going to be a special one. So,
dude,
tonight we're going to talk about something. Yeah. So, a big thing that happened this past weekend was the first game of NPSL. Oklahoma United took on the Vaqueros from Fort Worth, and oddly enough, it was interesting because that's our two first games. First game is against Fort Worth. Second game is against Oklahoma. And so, Brian, you had an interesting experience regarding that game.
Yeah, it was quite interesting. I just flew back in from Houston from a Dynamo game when I was at the airport. And lo and behold, I'm waiting on my wife to come pick me up. And who pulls up at the airport to pick up a player but Coach Scotty. Just fresh off of getting back in town from scouting in the stands at the Fort Worth Vaqueros game. Checking out that little clash with Oklahoma. Luke, I think you got a good view of the match. I think you've got a good few pointers on there. So why don't you throw it over there and let the people know?
Yeah, so the game ended up 5-1. Oklahoma United beat the Fort Worth Vaqueros and beat them handily. It was an interesting game to watch. It took a while for the first goal to come. I think the halftime score was 2-1, and so really, the Oklahoma team went up 2-0, and Fort Worth showed a lot of grit to come back and score that goal. Going down 2-0 in the first half is no joke, and so that's tough, man. I mean, it's easy for the whole team to slip at that point, right? Mm-hmm. But they did a good job. I think, just watching the game and listening to the commentators who were there, great job, by the way. The commentators I really enjoyed from the Fort Worth game. I thought they did a fun job. They made it a really enjoyable stream. That's not easy to do in this league, to have a good stream. And it's always worth mentioning whenever people do a really good job with that. So shout out to Fort Worth for the commentating, because I thought that was top notch. But yeah, one of the goals was a penalty. But Oklahoma, I think, exploited some of the defensive issues with Fort Worth. They mentioned that Fort Worth, I think they said, was all returning players. So you wouldn't expect there to be, some defensive kind of miscommunication and misunderstanding, but it looked like they were just a little disorganized, and Oklahoma was quick to pounce on that. So another thing they mentioned is that Oklahoma is made up of two different teams, really, that are both schools there. So those players are also, really familiar with one another, and they, especially in the attacking third, really showed what it means to click, and that's something that we've talked a lot about, right? That having familiarity with some of the players you're playing with is a big deal. But I mean, 5-1, that's a statement for the new team in this league.
Talk about the confidence coming out there, man. 5-1 to start. Welcome to the Lone Star Conference. Here we go. So Oklahoma's riding a high. Fort Worth's kind of figuring things out. We see them Saturday night in Fort Worth. So what are we going to see out of Fort Worth there? Do you think they're still going to be like staggering off of the beatdown, or do you think they're going to be like counterpunching at this point? Hey, we got to get back right because there's only a few more games left.
I can tell you, if it were me, I would be confident that they're going to do everything in their power to come back fighting, right? They know what that looks like, right? When you lose 5-1 at home to the brand new team, that can spark a fire, and I think that they will do a lot of work between now and then. I think it's going to be a game we absolutely cannot take for granted just because they got beat 5-1 that they're not going to come with their A game and that they'll figure out some of those defensive issues. I would be. It's almost like a wounded animal, right? Sometimes a wounded animal is twice as dangerous, and so I would definitely be wary of that. But I'm also, coming into a new conference and then beating one of the teams away 5-1. Because we play Oklahoma second. I'm also a little worried about that game. That's a lot of confidence that you get to carry into, take on the champions. So I think these first two games are going to be pretty tricky. And I'm really, really glad that Scotty was there just to kind of really see on the pitch. Because it's tough to, any YouTube stream, you're going to miss a lot. And so I'm glad that he was present just to see a lot of that.
And I'm sure he's just breaking it down, writing notes. You know how he is. And I'll say one thing, too, though. Oklahoma going to Fort Worth is different than Oklahoma going to Midland, Texas. That's a lot further of a travel from where they're at to where they're at here. So we'll get to see how it goes. I mean, I would expect him to come in confident. I would. 5-1, right? If we go down there and we win this thing 1-0 or draw or, something tight, they're going to look at us like, okay, they're next. Coming after us. If we go down there and make a statement and match or exceed, now I'm not saying we will, but if we do, that right there is like, okay, we ready for a fight. Come on down. Come see us. Come see us in our house.
No joke. And we've seen, we didn't start the league off super well last year. We had a little rough start. So with a season this short, it's hard to learn too much by the results. I think you have to really just watch the game and then be ready for whatever, And so, but Fort Worth, especially, they've got one player, I forget his name at this moment, but even the commentators were like, that guy, he didn't show up in the way he normally does. But when he does, this is going to be a much different kind of scenario for Fort Worth. So I'm like raring to go watching some streams and getting excited about these next games, but they're going to face a stacked squad here in Midland. So, Brian, let's talk about some more players. Who you got?
All right, first up tonight, and again, normal disclaimer. I'm going to try my best. I have Adim Arus, age 18, hometown. I'm going to try this. Look, I did 3 years of French in high school, and I forgot most of it. So we're going to I hear France. And I'm sure I got that wrong, so feel free to correct me. I will take all criticism of pronunciation.
West Texas yokel, man. I'm convinced. That's it.
All right. School is North Idaho College. It's National Junior College there. Position's winger. Left-footed. That's kind of the theme of the study that I had today. I had a bunch of left-footed guys, which is pretty cool. So this is his first season with them. He was second team All-Region. He played 20 games, started 18 of those 20. He had 2 goals and 5 assists. He was called up for the Algerian youth national team. He was also a finalist for France National Championship under 19. The dude's being called up into some selective spots for 2 different countries, 2 different nationalities here. He's young, but that's pretty special stuff right there. Not everybody, gets to get call-ups from their nation, right? So he had a good little bit of film, so I was able to break some stuff down on him. Dude is 6'2", but he looks bigger. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you watch him out there with some of these guys, and it's like, he looks, and it being only 18, he still may have some room to grow. Let's see. Big and knows how to play big. So he knows how to use his body. He's not a heavy guy, but being tall, he knows how to use his body well, has good ball control, and he understands leverage for being a tall guy. He's not letting the little guys get leverage on him and stay underneath him. He's actually pushing people around out there. It's pretty nice. And this is my favorite note of any of the notes that I've taken so far on any player that I've profiled. He might have the best hair on the WTXFC squad. So wait until you see this man in person.
Sweet.
And I hope he didn't shave his head or do anything and mess that haircut up before he gets here. I'm telling you, beautiful hair on this man. I wrote smart and high IQ.
You want to distract the opposition as much as possible.
We'll spend a fortune on the Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a sponsorship. That'd be cool.
There you go. There you go.
One thing I wrote down specifically was burst. This big man has a burst, and he will blow past defenders with a step over, with a quick feint. I mean, he will go past you. Like, he leaves defenders like, where'd he go? He works in tight spaces too. He'll fight you in a phone booth, is what I like to say. He's right on top of you, and I'm around you. I'm elbow. I'm pushing. We're gonna get out of here. He will take it down to the back line and work a nice little finesse move between your legs and work towards the goal. Will win one-on-ones consistently. For an 18-year-old like this, that's pretty solid. You see confidence there. Resilient. I think he's got a bright future. Is my last note. This kid right here, a young man. I shouldn't say kid. Young man. I don't know where Scotty's going to fit him in, and to piggyback off of our embarrassment of riches term. Put him out there, see what happens. Like I said, that left foot, when he was taking shots, it's dangerous. You know, when he's out there making moves on people, unselfish with the ball, too. Beautiful crosses, you know, flying crosses, low crosses. Man, the kid can play. He can play. Now, fit him in amongst the other 27 wingers we have on this team, or wherever you're going to put him, and just get him out there. Let him get on the ball. See what happens.
Did in the film, was he mostly on the left side? That's what I got for him.
Mostly on the left. He did float to right sometimes, but 90% of the film was on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I'd see a lot of winger, and I'd see, like, coming from that progressive back. Sometimes he'd work from that left back up a little bit, but more like midfield to front winger, pushing up and going.
Okay. Man, that sounds exciting. It's there's something about that wing play that you have to have so many different skill sets to do that well, right? You got to have that close control, but then you got to be able to drop dimes in the box.
Yeah. Well, look at Chelsea, Luis Diaz for Liverpool.
Yep.
Look at Liverpool. I mean, the guy is so controlled and so dangerous, too. Great player. I'm not comparing Adim there yet, but, I mean, he's throwing dimes across the box, dropping them over to players, unselfish play, but knows when to strike,
Yeah. Which is important, and it's interesting because the player I'm going to talk about now is also a left-footed winger, and he also might be one of the contenders to compete for best hair on the squad. And let me pull up his name. It's another one that is difficult, and I really apologize to Kenny if I butcher it, but it is Kenny All Hakazamana. So he is a Canadian sophomore at Hill College. And watching the film on Kenny was just like dynamite. And I wanted to pull up what Scotty said about him. And when I pulled it up, it says Kenny is an electric player. And I could say from the first get-go, if you pull up the West Texas FC post where they announced that he was coming, on the very last picture is a highlight reel. And the first highlight is all you need to get super pumped about this guy being in the squad. It's like a little spin move. It's like watching Kobe Bryant play basketball, just full of confidence, full of flashy, like sexy play, but also a real technical know-how. You know, it's like this combination of factors that just it's really electrifying. You know, I mean, that's a great term to describe the way this guy plays. He is so good with the ball at his feet, you know, kind of almost like center mid kind of play, but had tons of gorgeous shots up into the corner of the crossbar, tons of crosses into the box that were just perfect. It was like, what can't this guy do? There were even some defensive kind of passages of play where you could see that he also knows how to hustle to get the ball back. And so I have no idea where the gap in his skill set is, but at least based on the film that I've watched, it looks like you've got a guy who you can just put him on the pitch and say, Kenny, you go, You do your thing, and we'll try to keep up. He's one of those guys that his pace is immediately evident, that he's setting the tone and putting the bar way high up for the rest of the people on the pitch, whether it be on your team or the other team, in order to, stay in that squad. In order to beat this team, you have to outwork that guy. And I don't know how anyone's going to be able to do that. It was really exciting watching Kenny's highlights, and I would really suggest everybody to go at least watch that couple of clips that West Texas FC posted. But if you go to his Instagram, he has a couple of extra ones, and dude has a fantastic head of hair. You can always spot him, just big old hair running across the pitch. It's like, I love everything about this guy. I cannot wait. But man, again, Scotty, good luck, dude. Like, I don't envy that man. He's got a tough job ahead of him.
Well, that electricity you were talking about, man, it can be contagious. I mean, we can start really seeing. I mean, look at who all we profiled so far. High energy, high IQ, great with the ball. I mean, so many people out here. This is going to be an electric season, to say it lightly. So, like you said, Scotty's got plenty to do here, and I mean, the clock is ticking. Saturday's coming. So figuring out that captain's band, figuring out who's your starting 11, who you're taking on the trip, who you're leaving behind. I mean, man, I don't want to be in his shoes right now. There's a lot of good choices out there.
Yeah, and which is exciting to us as fans, right? Because we know, regardless of who starts, if anything happens or if anything needs to change up, we know who's on the bench. And I feel as confident. It's evident that you can't tell who's going to be starters, that how deep our team is. Last year it got tough there at the end because we started losing guys. This year, I think we were built for the long haul, and that as much as anything, I love that mindset of we're not looking at 10 games, we're looking at 13, 14, 15 games. We're looking at going all the way right with this squad.
Yeah, if Scotty told me right, it's 16 to the cup. So, You know how often some guys will get nicked up, right? A couple bumps here to there. Hell, I mean, look at the end of the month. We got 3 games in a week, 3 matches. Just boom, 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 boom. So you can rotate guys, keep legs fresh, and just be as dangerous and as violent as you want to be out there. Fresh legs coming up, boys.
Yep.
So I'm excited, man. It is going to be a wild ride, coming real quick and real fast.
Yeah. Saturday's coming, man. I mean, it's less than a week away at this point. By the time this posts, it's going to be days away. Like, it's right around the corner, and we know that the watch party's happening at Tall City. So, go get your Pilsners, make it happen.
It's official. It came out today. Club posted, we posted. Lothramento will be in the house. We will be there, watch party. So we're going to be breaking it down. And like I said in my comment on West XFC, let's let the boys hear us in Fort Worth from all the way here in Midland. So let them, see us show up, see the support they're going to have when they're away. Can only imagine what it's going to be like when they get home.
Yeah. Yeah, well, who else you got, man?
Oh, I'm sure I got another ace in the hole here. Let's get this one pulled out. All right.
That's all we got, man.
Man, I'm playing with too many decks of cards because all we got is aces.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's see. Marcel Dufau, age 21, from Santiago, Chile. I like Chile. I like their flag. It's pretty close to the Texas flag. But school is Mercyhurst University, D1, sophomore, central midfielder. Left-footed. This is a cool little stat that the club put out whenever they announced him. So I had to look this up after they put this out. Represented Universidad Católica from U8 to U21. So they're a very successful Chilean club. They're the Chilean Premier League. They're a 16-time champion.
Oh.
So you're talking 16-time champion. All the way from the 30s up into the last time they won the title was in 2021 or something like that. So he was playing for a top-tier squad in Chile. And I know my pronunciation there is right. So, so that says something, dude, to be with the club from U8 to U21, right? So I think he left the U-21 to go into the States and start pursuing his soccer dream here and his education. Don't know that for a fact, but just that would be my guess from what I'm seeing here. Okay. He played in 17 games with 16 starts for Mercy University, who was his junior college he played for before accepting a D1 offer with Mercyhurst. They were 9-3-5. They were ranked nationally in the top 20 all season long, got to as high as 10. He was first team all conference for that junior college. See kind of a pattern we got going here?
No joke.
Let's see. Here's the film I got for him. And this is one of my favorite sayings. I say this to my kids when they play, but he passes with purpose and precision. Like, a lot of people don't understand what passing with purpose is. Pass with purpose is send the ball into space for a purpose for him to run on. Send the ball over here, send it back here with a purpose, not just YOLO, not just going to yeet it downfield. We're just going to say, I see my man making a run, and there's nobody else in the middle. We're going to throw it out there to make him run onto it, and let's go shoot.
Yeah.
Great long ball into space. I mean, talking about switch the field and put it on a dime, yeah, man can do it. Excellent vision. On the offensive side of the ball, he's always in the mix. He wasn't nothing really super flashy, but efficient play. Now, he had some really solid defending, though. He'll take the ball away from you and get the ball up to his guys. I did see that. Notes it always around the ball offensively and defensively, and another high IQ player. You can watch him when he's making decisions, kind of scanning around and saying, okay, making the right call, making the ball go right. The tough part about watching highlight tapes is it's all highlights. So you got to sit there and watch for the little grinding moments and say, okay, what do we see? What do we see? The man's a hustler. I can tell you that. He works hard, he runs hard, he plays hard through the moments. I can see in this guy, he's going to be very versatile. Wherever Scotty puts him, he puts him up to playing up. Cool. Puts him to playing back. Cool. He can do it all. I don't know if he's going to roll in and be one of our starters on game day, rotational piece, or what. But what I saw is a guy that can pretty much do a little bit of everything. So there may be some more I didn't see because I only got to watch a 7-minute film on him. That's all I could find before we started today. But I would love to see the man live and in person. Let's see what he can do out there.
Man, that's exciting. I love the way you describe that, passing with purpose, because so many of these guys, like, it's not always about a square ball right to somebody, right? A lot of times it's about understanding the flow, where they're headed, being able to
drop it.
Exactly. Yeah, and cut defenders in two, that kind of thing. Man, it reminds me a lot about going back to Kenny. Like, Kenny had a lot of those kind of clips where you saw the amount of vision, and we've already talked about how high the IQ of our squad is, right? Just from watching game film, talking to Scotty, knowing how many captains we have, how much experience we have. Yep. Those types of kind of the way you read the game, right? And that's where that passing with purpose, because first you have to read the game in order to put the ball in the right spot. Then you have to have the skill and expertise to be able to deliver the pass. Those are two different things. And I think a lot of times that experience of leadership and understanding kind of the game overall, you kind of have to earn that vision, right, of the game. And that's exciting that we've got so many guys who can do that.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's very, very interesting to see just smart players. I don't see a bunch of film on anybody that's running off just out on their own. They are making plays happen, or they're dishing the ball to someone that's going to make a play. Mm-hmm. I don't see a lot of selfishness out there. And maybe I didn't see that as forwards. I like a little selfish in a forward. Yeah. I mean, come on, the greatest of all time guys. There's a little selfish there.
Absolutely.
But I do see a lot of the forwards on this team dish the ball out too. So hey, all that matters to these boys, I think, is just getting the goals and let's move on. Let's win. Hoist the cup.
That's right.
That's right. Hoist the tumbleweed.
Yeah, that's the one we want, right? That's the first one we want.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna.
That's the first piece of hardware that ain't going nowhere.
That's right. That's right. It's gonna stay put right where it normally is. And one of the guys who's going to help us do that is goalkeeper Keegan Grant. So he is from Perth, Australia, University of Findlay, and his. You can tell. I'm not sure who writes these kind of posts whenever West Texas FC announces a player, but whoever wrote this is really excited about Keegan. And so let me just kind of quote from here. Born and raised in Perth, Western Australia state team, under 12s plus the under 14s. Then the professional academy, Perth Glory Football Club. What a great name, Perth Glory. He played for Perth Glory in U15s, U18s, U21s, and trained with the professional A-League team over the span of 5 years before coming to the U.S. So that's all prior to coming to the U.S. And, quote, and since coming to the U.S., Keegan has one of the most impressive resumes as a goalkeeper in college soccer. That's a quote. After committing to D2 Concord, this was, here it is. After committing to D2 school Concord University for the 2022 season, he created history. First goalkeeper awarded MEC All-Conference first team in Concord's history. Helped Concord to their first MEC tournament game in 23 years. Individually had the most clean sheets, plus the fewest goals allowed in a season in program history. Ranked first in goals against average in history, and recorded 101 saves in a season. Right? That was all at Concord. It keeps going. This is a huge post. They would have been host on X or wherever you got to limit the words. But he then transferred to the University of. Yeah, no joke. For 2024, he transferred to D2 school University of Findlay, where he helped lead the Oilers to their first conference championship in program history. Keegan ended the season with an array of awards: GMAC All-Conference First Team, GMAC Goalkeeper of the Year, NCAA Division II All-Region Goalkeeper. So, if that's not enough to get you excited, all you have to do is go watch the game film on this guy. He's, most of the time you're used to seeing big, giant goalkeepers. He's not one of those guys. He doesn't look huge, but the speed at which he goes for the ball or pivots is just, it looks like he's in fast forward while everyone else is normal, right? Something about the way he launches off the line to do those big diving saves, and dude has ups. He's blocking both corners, just seemed all over the place. And what I was really excited about was he's one of those guys who's quick off the line whenever a defender's running in. He's closing down the space, making himself huge, has zero fear. And if we had the mustache that this guy had, we would also have zero fear. The dude, just like an Australian, wallaby coming at you with arms flailing, and just lightning fast. And I love goalkeepers like that. I think we've had several at the squad where you have these giant dudes who, are really formidable. And then you have these smaller guys who you're kind of like, oh man, what's he going to do? And then you see them and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like you put a striker in at goalkeeper, but with all of the skill sets of a keeper. And so, that stat sheet kind of says it all. Dude's just a stud. He is remarkable. And, sometimes goalkeeper highlights really good goalkeepers. The highlights are okay, he catches the ball. Okay, he, kind of blocks something. This guy, you see exactly why he's on the squad. And he is, again, I have no idea who's going to play number one. If we have a number one, maybe we have a number one for this game, and then we got another number one for this game, and then another number one for this game. But all of that with the addition of having a dedicated goalkeeper coach, this is a position I'm not even a little bit worried about. I am so confident in the way that our goalkeeping setup is for the season that we could field 9 guys, and I still don't know how the opposition is going to score.
Yeah, and I got to talk to Mateo a little bit the other night when I went out there to meet Scotty and the boys. was talking to him a little bit about his keepers, and he's kind of looking at it like you and me are, like, yep, let's see what happens. But I can tell you, that man's acumen right there, Mateo's going to have him ready. It's going to be fun. And I don't know if they're going to have a fist fight. I don't know if they're going to play rock, paper, scissors or something. But, I mean, goalie is a taxing piece on your body. So, that, like I said, that 3 games and a 7-day stretch, you'll probably see some rotation because that stuff hurts, man, bouncing off that turf out there.
When we saw our goalkeepers get hammered last year, right? And they were all incredible as well. But, man, we saw some of those guys have to come off and get subbed, in the middle of games just because they didn't mind going after it. And that's a very dangerous position to be in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know. I've watched my son play it for a while. It's quite the rodeo. Man. That's what I like about these guys we have too. I mean, pull this one, put that one in. Okay, now it's different. Now you're not used to this guy anymore. Okay, pull this one, put that one in. Okay, that's a whole nother little bit of different right there. But they're all covering their bases, controlling their box. So, and hopefully, the one thing I look forward in a goalkeeper is leadership from the back. I like to see him directing. I like to see how the guys react to his direction. That tells you what kind of leader the man is. Because he's supposed to be able to call the ball from back there. Let's see how they line up. So I'm interested to see how whoever is back there, how they set that up, how aggressive they are when they come out to challenge a striker, how they build their wall. Hopefully our defense is so good we don't have to worry about it too much. It's going to be bored. But I love having a nice safety net back there just in case he isn't.
That's right. Well, and when you have the experience and the stat sheet like Keegan has and like our other goalkeepers have, I mean, and then when you pair it with Keegan's mustache, like you listen to that man, like he tells me what to do, right? And so it made me really excited both to kind of watch someone on the attacking side and then research someone on the back. You're just like, dude, I mean, you can give us the trophy now and save everybody a lot of work. Be fine.
Yep. Just go ahead and line us up. We'll start practicing, getting ready for that the first round or whatever playoffs you got to come. So come on with it.
That's right.
Just win this thing out. Let's get Farolito to come down here instead of us going to California to play.
No joke. And to hear some more exciting players, now we're going to bring on the professor himself, Mr. Chris Haig. All right, and we are back here, but joining us for the remainder of this episode is Mr. Chris Haig. And we did like in Wayne's World where they do like, and magically,
exactly.
Brian and I are wearing different clothes, and I got a haircut somehow.
Wardrobe change. It's fine.
It's like a Taylor Swift show.
The continuity doesn't connect. Exactly.
That's right. So Chris, I know you're jumping in kind of at the end of this episode. Are you disturbed by the change in our appearance here?
Well, I can't tell because I wasn't connected before, but like I was saying just before we connected, the whole continuity, I'm one of those people who watches a TV show and I catch the continuity issues like, wait, that doesn't match. And years ago, I worked at a restaurant that was on diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Really?
And they filmed that over 2 weeks. So one week part of it, and then the next week another part. And they were super specific. Guy Fieri was only there 1 week, the second week. But they said you have to have the exact same people working, the exact same clothes. No one can get a haircut. Everybody has to have the same makeup on. So it was really funny. Like they wanted to have that continuity.
That's all. So that's more like a vacation in Flavortown.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Chris, let's wrap up this episode with a couple more players, and then in the following episode, we'll kind of talk about the remainder of the squad. But hit us with a couple guys.
Give us the good stuff, man. Let's go.
Absolutely. So I've got a couple of players to highlight, and I'll preface this by saying both of these players couldn't find a whole lot of video on them, so don't have that side of things to really break down their play, but there's some interesting notes about both of them. So the first is Adrien Alexander, who is originally from France, and I'll butcher the name, but his hometown is, it looks like Chelles or Chez, France. Currently, he's playing in Australia, so he's got a really interesting story. Currently playing it most recently, I should say, playing for Coburn City Soccer Club, which is in Western Australia. It's basically the equivalent of the second division in Australia. And before that, he was at Faulkner University. Well, we've got a lot of connections with Faulkner, and I'm sure there's a story behind Adrian's connection to playing in Australia and his connections with Scotty.
Yeah, where do we know that name from? Faulkner? It sounds really familiar.
Faulkner, Australian. This all sounds. Yeah.
And see, this is part of what's great about this squad too, because he's also French, and there's a little bit of French connection on this.
There is.
We've talked about this in multiple episodes. Just such a awesome way that Scotty's been putting together this roster, just connections all throughout, which is really great to see. But looking at Adrian just a little bit, he's a defensive midfielder, listed as a defensive midfielder. Going back to his time at Faulkner, the notes that I could find, it looks like he played 3 seasons at Faulkner, started 32 games, appeared in 37, so got quite a bit of playing time. During that time, had 3 goals and 3 assists. It looks like he played at another school in California, but then, like I said, he's been playing at kind of this semi-pro second division level in Australia. And really the main thing that I'm getting from his signing is experience and leadership. We've got quite a few younger players, guys who have just recently finished their freshman year of college, or on that younger side. He's a little bit older, and he's got connection with Scotty, with some other players on the team. So he's going to bring some of that leadership. And the limited kind of clips, the limited clip that was shared with the announcement from the club, he is listed as a defensive midfielder. But the first thing you see is a goal that he scored. So I'm hoping for kind of that two-way sort of defensive midfielder. And there was a clip in there as well where he's winning the ball back and then immediately playing forward. And so hopefully he's a player who can offer that in the midfield, that defensive presence that you want, but also being able to move forward and get involved in the attack.
Yeah, man, 6 goal involvements for a defensive midfielder. That's pretty impressive.
That's something right there, man.
Exactly. So otherwise, don't know a ton because haven't been able to find a lot of video, but really excited to see what he has to offer and learn a little bit more about his story, because coming from France, playing in the States, now playing in Australia, just is a really interesting trajectory.
That's gonna be the fun part, man. When we get around these guys and actually get to ask them questions and say, okay, so how'd this happen?
Yeah.
That's going to be the real fun part.
Yeah.
For sure. And then the other player I wanted to highlight is also a defensive player, defender, but he's listed as a fullback. His name is Pape Gueye. So originally from Senegal, from Dakar, Senegal. Again, I'm really curious of his story because it looks like he played high school soccer in San Antonio. So I'm not sure how long he's been in the States, but he played high school soccer in San Antonio. He also played for the Borussia Dortmund Academy. They have an international academy in San Antonio, and won like a club state championship with them here in Texas. Then he's really played in the San Antonio area. So he played 2 seasons at Our Lady of the Lake, which is an NAIA school.
Yeah.
Had 16 starts, appeared in a total of 26 games. Again, couldn't find a whole lot of video of him, but he did have some good play. And then now he's signed with St. Mary's University, which is Division II.
Nice.
Again, we've heard St. Mary's pop up quite a bit. They're a powerhouse team, a good team in this area at that level, and there's multiple connections on the squad. So he's already been playing this spring for St. Mary's, and one of the highlights for him is his athleticism. He's a big player. He's an athletic player, an aggressive kind of defensive player that you want to see. And from the limited clips that I could find, and also from Scotty's kind of introduction statement, I think his athleticism as a fullback is really going to be valuable for the team.
Man, that's great. And there's something about, I don't know how big of a deal this is, but I can imagine that there's something about playing in Texas, but maybe even more broad, kind of playing in the southern United States where you're used to the heat, and San Antonio can get hotter even in the Midland, and so there's something about, I love players who have some experience, in in this kind of a climate that are coming to play. Because man, it's it's the middle of summer, and some of those games, especially early on in the games, they can be pretty difficult on you physically. So I like these guys that are acclimated.
For sure. And yeah, definitely some players from Texas who have been playing in Texas, but also just other areas in the South. Some of the other clubs or colleges, I should say, that schools that players are coming from kind of the southeastern part of the United States. So you're right. Hopefully they can adapt easily to the heat.
Yep.
That's excellent, man.
It's a whole nother thing out here, man. I told everybody, take your electrolytes, drink your water. It's going to be hot.
For sure.
That's great, guys. Well, we'll call this episode a wrap, and in the next episode, we're going to complete the roster. So we wanted to make sure that we highlighted each one of these guys, and every one of these guys is, we keep talking about this embarrassment of riches that we have on this squad. It's so fascinating to kind of hear these stats, hear these stories, hear the profiles that we have available to us, and it's something that's really exciting to see, and how deep this team is. Because like we keep saying, I have no idea who the kind of number one team is going to be if we have one. So I'm excited about that.
Man, step up. Let's go.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, we'll see you.
All right. See you on the next one.
See you, fellas.